Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the webinar, the Veloso Tours webinar on Ecuador and the Galapagos. We're going to be particularly ambitious today with direct reports from the Galapagos Islands, 800 miles off the coast of South America in the Pacific. My name is Paulo Veloso. I'm the Managing Director of Veloso Tours. And the content of the webinar today is going to be a short introduction on Veloso Tours. And then my colleague Nick is going to take us on a tour of Ecuador, and including the Galapagos Islands. And we'll have a live report from the yachts that are at this very moment cruising the islands. We have La Pinta, the Theory and the Evolution. And then we will have live reports from our guides in Guayaquil, in Cuenca, and in Quito, in the highlands of Ecuador, and Guayaquil is on the coast, as we're going to see. And then we'll go to the Mashpi Lodge, which is this wonderful lodge in the cloud forest. And we'll have also a report from this historic Hacienda Zuleta. And at the end, we will go through some itineraries, Veloso Tours itineraries, which will give us an idea of how we can put together these various destinations into a tour holiday. And we'll answer any questions that you may have. I'd like to ask you to set the Zoom chat to speaker view so that you can send any questions to Berenice, and then we will monitor those questions and answer them at the end. Also, I would like you to set it to speaker view so that you can hear the person who is speaking, and to ask you to be patient if there are any delays or some poor connections, because as I mentioned, we are technically going to be very ambitious by connecting live to the Galapagos Islands. We've done this before, it's worked, but if there are any delays, we'll solve them as quickly as possible. So Veloso Tours' uniqueness is something that we place a lot of effort, and we consider very important. We have been operating for over 20 years, so we have a lot of experience in this field. And our aim is to provide authentic experiences of each destination so that you can have an in-depth perspective which will enhance your visit by focusing on your interests and providing an understanding of local life, people, and customs. And we do this by asking you to tell us your interests. We then convey those to the guides, and we adapt the excursions to fit your interests. And also we specify the guides, the local guides that will be looking after you, and we also send the guides information about you so that you know each other. In these days of COVID, obviously everything is open for travel at the moment. So the important thing is to note that we have a booking flexibility whereby you can make the full payment as late as possible, which at the moment is around 4 weeks before departure, so that the situation can be monitored, and also to have travel insurance covering COVID, which there are several, at least 5 different companies that we know of that can provide that, so that can be taken care of. Now, looking to the future, we have a new brochure for Latin America, which I hope you've received one, or if you have not, you can contact us and we're happy to send you one in the post. This brochure is also available on our website. You can download it and you can view it online. There's a system where you can flick through all the pages, and you can download PDFs of different sections. I think it's a good way to plan and to find out what's available and what the highlights are and what's possible. We've also used this time now to improve, let's say, make major improvements to our website with new tours, images, These webinars are recorded online and available for anyone to see. We've also developed a contact with our guides, and we have developed a new feature on the website whereby you can download the itinerary, set a start date, and download the itinerary with what you'd be doing day by day and when you'd be coming back. We're going to show you some examples of how this works at the end of the webinar. We also have new destinations, China, Indonesia, and India, as well as Latin America. So as we say here, we are ready. Now, Ecuador, we've traveled to Ecuador many times in the past, over many years, and we love it. Ecuador is wonderful. You can see here that it has the Amazon rainforest basin here in the east. Then there's the Andean mountain range crossing Ecuador, and the Andes slope both to the Amazon and to the Pacific. Then there's a coastal area along the Pacific where we have Guayaquil, which we're going to have a report on. And this Isla de Plata is also possible to visit from the mainland. It's sort of mini Galapagos. And then 800 miles off the coast, right on the equator, we have the Galapagos Islands strategically positioned with a cold current coming from the south and a warm current coming from the north. So very important for nutrition and wildlife, and we're going to see more about that in a minute. So if I could ask my colleague Nick now to take us on a tour of Ecuador and start with the Galapagos Islands. Nick?
Thanks very much, Paolo. Yes, if I'm just going to start sharing my screen here. Hopefully you can all see my screen now. So as Paolo said, we're starting with the Galapagos Islands, undoubtedly one of the top wildlife experiences you could have worldwide. The Galapagos Islands has a long and interesting history, starting from really around the 1500s, where it was almost a safe haven for pirates and buccaneers which raided Spanish ships and then retreated to the Galapagos to provide a safe haven. Of course, it's famous for hosting Charles Darwin when he visited in 1835 aboard the HMS Beagle, and what he saw there, particularly the finches, helped him to really theorize on the origin of the species through natural selection, and that's what led to his famous book and the theory of evolution that we know today. Not until 1934, though, were the first wildlife sanctuaries established, and then in 1959 the Galapagos National Park formed to protect the archipelago, when it was really appreciated and understood what an incredible biodiversity the islands had, the archipelago had. And then in 1964 the Charles Darwin Research Centre was opened in order to study a number of the wildlife species there as well. So here you have a map of the islands. It is an archipelago, hundreds of volcanic islands spread across a relatively wide area, some larger than others, as you can see, some very small, many of them completely uninhabited, and some of them even are not allowed to be visited. There's that much protection from the national park. You get there by flying from the mainland of Ecuador. From Quito it takes about 3 hours, and the flight does go via Guayaquil, that we'll talk about a little bit later. And flying from Guayaquil it goes directly non-stop to the islands in about 1 hour and 50 minutes. You can arrive either on Baltra Island, which is one of these smaller ones in the centre here, or at San Cristobal, which is over in the east. And you would be collected by the guides from the ship that you're going to embark upon, and taken to embark on the ship and set off on your cruise from there. And the main islands you can see listed here would be Santa Cruz in the middle, San Cristobal that I've just mentioned, Fernandina, which is the large one over in the west. Sorry, this one over in the west. Bartolomé up in the north, Española down in the south, Genovesa and Floriana that we'll all speak about. I'll show you a little bit about shortly. One of the things that makes the experience of the Galapagos Islands so special is the expert naturalist guides, and they are really required to help you get the best of your experience from the islands, to understand the different species, how they live there, why they live in separate places, what the differences are in the species between the islands, and they really bring the islands alive, both creating a wonderful atmosphere of discovery, presenting the natural history in a way that's sort of easy to understand for nature lovers. And they are chosen by the Galapagos National Park Authority. They go through rigorous training, and all of them really exhibit a wonderful love and passion for the Galapagos Islands. Many of them are native, what are called Galapagueños as well, so they've grown up on the islands and know them intimately. And they give daily talks and lectures on the ship as well when you're not on the islands doing the day trips. So we'll start by looking at Santa Cruz, where you find the Charles Darwin Research Station, and a number of little places. It's not the main island itself. There are a variety of landing points all around the islands that exhibit different species and different points of interest as well. Particularly of interest on Santa Cruz are the giant tortoises that you can see here, which are absolutely enormous and really quite a striking sight to behold when you come upon them in the wild. And also the land and marine iguanas that we'll see shortly. Here's one of the marine iguanas, which spend most of their time in the sea, but they cling to rocks, and they eat the algae from the rocks. They look quite intimidating, as you can see, almost like small dinosaurs, but they are, sometimes you can see them in quite large colonies as well, so they are also quite striking and different from anything you would see elsewhere in the world. San Cristobal, out in the west, again has a number of points to visit and disembark at. It's possible to see giant tortoises there. Also the blue-footed boobies that are very well known. We'll see a picture of those a bit later on. Nazca boobies, which is another kind of seabird, and also frigate birds. These are the frigate birds that have this inflatable sac in front, very distinctive look, which is used for courting and attracting mates for reproduction. And it's quite common to see these. They're quite large birds as well, so again quite striking to see, especially when there are a number of them around you on the island. On Fernandina, it's possible to see flightless cormorants, penguins, sea lions. Sea lions you can actually see in a number of places, and they're wonderful to play with, especially they are very playful, particularly in the water, and it's possible to snorkel with them swimming around you. Marine iguanas, as we've seen before, here's another up-close picture, and also lava lizards that scurry around on the rock-hard lava flows. Here are some of the sea lions just lounging on the beach. They love to do this, to take in the sunshine, absorb the heat. They can be very lazy on the beach, but when they're in the water, you'll see them swooping around and playing, and sometimes even at the right time of year in about October, November, when they've had their pups, you can even see sea lion pups in the water as well. Española, which is a smaller island in the south, it's possible to see waved albatrosses. This is a waved albatross here. It's an enormous bird. This picture doesn't quite do justice to its size, and particularly its wingspan, which can be 2 to 3 meters in width. And it's possible to see them taking off the side of cliffs, and also doing the mating dance, where they stand one in front of the other and do a dance to decide whether they're going to mate or not. Again, it's possible to see marine iguanas here, and mockingbirds also, which are slightly smaller, ground-based birds. This is one of the lava lizards, as you can see, sitting atop a piece of hardened lava, and you see these in a number of places. Vary in size from larger ones to very small ones. You see them scurrying around in a number of places. Bartolomé is a smaller island, but very rocky, almost desert-like landscape. And here it's possible to see penguins, often in the water, rays as well in the water, sea lions and sea turtles. Here's one of the Galapagos penguins, for example, which are only miniature penguins. You see them sometimes standing on the rocks on the shoreline, and it's also possible to see them swimming in the water as well. Cute little things. Then there's Genovesa, which is again another small island up in the north, but it's particularly well known for colonies of seabirds. You've got the red-footed boobies that you can see here with the distinctive red feet. Nazca boobies, which have a sort of black mask on the face but are otherwise white, swallow-tailed gulls and red-billed tropic birds there. And here are some of the very well-known blue-footed boobies that you'd see in a number of the islands and locations. So it's likely that whichever islands you visit, you're likely to see those somewhere on your trip. Then you've got Floriana, again, a smaller island. What you can see here is what's known as the post office, and this is where sailors and buccaneers used to come and leave messages to send back to people at home, for example, and then they would hope that at some point another seafarer would come along and think, oh, I'm going to London or I'm going to Paris or wherever, and deliver the letter for them. And this tradition still continues today. You might be invited to write a little postcard to someone you know, or even write to yourself if you like, leave it there and then see how long it takes for another guest in the Galapagos to pick it up and take it back. You can also see flamingos in Floriana and sea turtles nesting sometimes. They do nest on the beach there. Here are the flamingos, for example, that you see on a big lagoon, which is in the middle of Floriana Island, and again, quite a striking sight to behold, as you can see there. Many other islands that we don't have time to mention so much, such as Isabella, North Seymour, Santa vessel you're on, be it a small yacht or a larger ship, they're going to be making visits and day trips in a number of different places, morning and afternoon. So you will have a very full schedule, really showing you the best of the islands. What to consider when visiting the Galapagos? Well, is the itinerary right for me? The ships tend to do a 14-day loop around the islands that they will subdivide into either 7 and 7 nights, or sometimes even smaller lengths. So the length of the cruise is something to consider as well. We tend to suggest 7 nights as giving you a good amount of time and a good variety in the islands, but if you're pushed for time, there are shorter ones. The size of the vessel, we'll see shortly that the vessels do come in different sizes. Sorry, it's just left the full screen. Apologies for that. The quality of the vessel, you have options from very deluxe through to more mid-range, slightly more basic type of vessel. What kind of cabin or stateroom, we'll see a little bit of those shortly when we hear from the boats themselves. What kind of facilities, whether they cater for special interests. Single cabins for single passengers. Some boats do have those. Others would require you to take a double cabin for a single occupancy. Or there's also the opportunity to stay in a hotel on one of the islands and take day trips on smaller boats to visit the islands. That's another option that we will look at shortly as well. And just to mention that with any Galapagos trip you book with us, we will provide you with 6 months free membership to the Galapagos Conservation Trust, which is the UK's leading Galapagos conservation charity and does a huge amount of work to protect the environment and the habitats there for wildlife. So we're going to look first at La Pinta, which is a mid-sized luxury vessel. She takes up to 48 passengers, and she does 4 and 6 night itineraries, so slightly shorter than the 7 night standard, providing a very sophisticated and upscale experience and providing some of the largest and best furnished cabins in the Galapagos Islands as well, with lovely floor-to-ceiling windows and lots of public space and facilities. So now we're going to go live to one of the guides on La Pinta, who's going to show us a little bit of the facilities and what life is like aboard. Hello. I think you're on mute at the moment. We can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Jennifer.
Well, welcome to Galapagos Islands. Welcome to La Pinta. I'm Jennifer, and I'm so happy to be here with you, sharing these special moments from such a special place, the Galapagos Islands. So this is my very special view from this morning. At this moment, we're starting to disembark with the guests. They are going to visit the island of Floriana. This is one of our panga drivers waiting for the passengers to come down. And as you can see, they are about to start their activities. So I'm gonna start this little tour around our beautiful boat. I'm gonna show you right now this special balcony with a beautiful view. It's located in the front of the bar, in front of the lounge. This is the bridge. So let's have a little tour and see what we have inside. Hello. So let me show you, this is our main lounge, capacity for 48 guests in total. This is where our guides will be offering every day their briefings, their lectures about the islands and about the activities that we offer the next day's activities. This is our bartender, Felipe, preparing delicious drinks at this moment.
Jennifer, can I ask you to have the camera on the horizontal?
Of course, yes.
Thank you.
Now better? All right, so we have a little coffee station here available 24 hours. A coffee vendor machine, cappuccino, mochaccino, chocolate, all kind of coffees. So it's a very special place, a very nice view, panoramic windows that can show you the beauty outside of the boat, of course. So coming to this point, we will find a very nice library. This is our Darwin's library, very cozy place, very nice, relaxing. Different books about the Galapagos Islands, different subjects, the map of the islands. We have some games available here for families, for entertainment, movies, documentaries, very special place. So let's continue on the other side. I will show you, we have a couple of facilities that at the moment required a prior reservation. Those are the fitness center, and of course, the jacuzzi. We do have a little jacuzzi available here at La Pinta. This is the view of the gym. I'll show you how it looks inside. It's very pretty. The machine activities, but it's here in case that somebody needs it, okay? Some relaxing chairs. This is our Sunday. We have some meals outside to enjoy the view of the islands, our jacuzzi with some towels available in the area. So this is our Sunday. Every day we will offer here some snacks, drinks, special offers that we give to our guests to enjoy the sunset. Every time they come back, they will have activities here organized by the bartenders, happy hours, and our crew members. So let's going down. And here I'm gonna show you a couple of cabins that I have ready for you. We have a couple of dryer machines here available as well, so people can use them at any time. Those are complimentary use. And let's go to the cabins. Our stateroom attendants waiting, Pedro, Emilio, hola. Please, let's see how a cabin looks like here aboard La Pinta. So this is a matrimonial berth, as you can see. We have some amenities here located, a couple of water bottles, and this is the view that our guests will have every single morning when waking up. And this gentleman here he forgot to go to the excursion. I think maybe he's feeling a little bit sick. Hello, sir. And this is the facilities that we have on board. Let's go to the bathroom and have a look at this. The towels are already served here. Very nice and spacious bathrooms. Hot water, nice amenities. And talking about biosecurity protocols, we do have alcohol, face masks, and all kind of amenities here aboard in the cabins. These are the life jackets. They are all have safety deposit box available. This is how basically the cabins look like. This sofa bed can be set for a third bed. In this case, we have different kind of cabins. This one, for example, looks like a twin bed. They are perfect for families, so you can have them together. These are not interconnected, but at least they are one in front of the other one. Gracias, Pedro. So now let's have a look.
Gracias, Pedro.
At the rest of the boat. Gracias, Pedro. 24 cabins in total, as you said, Annie. We have these dispensers of water. They are automatic right now. Gel dispensers everywhere and screens to see the programs about everyday's activities. Going all this way, we will find the reception, restaurant, and the medical officer office. We do have a little hospital on board, which is really nice and a good asset, especially right now because of the pandemic. It's good to have a doctor on board. So this is our reception. And this is the place where we will be disembarking every day for the activities. Social restrooms. This is our checkboard, the way that we control who is on board and who's leaving to the islands. So we are sure that we're not forgetting anybody there. This is our medical facilities officer, Doctora Dayana, that's her name, Dayana. She's from Venezuela, working with us on board La Pinta. So that's the medical officer. And now we'll find the restaurant, which is located in front of the reception. Restaurant of La Pinta. We just finished our service. The guests left. Hello, guys. Say hello. Hi. These are our waiters. They're working right now. And this is how the restaurant looks like. And the view, of course, is really nice. In this area, we have only portholes, but they offer you a very special view at all times. So you are welcome to visit us aboard La Pinta at any time. It will be a pleasure to have you as a guest and be happy of being part of your amazing experience here in the Galapagos Islands.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Well done, everyone.
Thanks, Jennifer. Wonderful to see there all of the facilities and accommodation on board of La Pinta. And it's particularly good to be able to see the sort of space of the public facilities, the public areas, wonderful alfresco dining area as well, which can be a lovely experience to eat out when the weather's good.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Our next stop is going to be the Theory luxury motor yacht, which takes up to 20 guests, so considerably smaller than the La Pinta. And she does 7 and 14 itineraries, 7 and 14 night itineraries, and is really sort of committed to luxury and customer experience, and as such is part of the Relais Chateau network. So you see a very high standard there of accommodation and food and drink as well. Very spacious and stylish, but being on a smaller scale than La Pinta. And we're going to hear directly from them now. Hello to the Theory.
Hola.
Hola.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daniela, concierge on board the Theory. I'm very glad to show you our ship. We're going to start our our tour right here. This is the concierge office. This is where the guests can find me at all times. We also have a little boutique available for them with theory merchandise and all kinds of stuff that they could use. Also, we have a library available with a wide variety of Galapagos books.
Sorry, Daniela, we can't hear you. You might have covered the microphone. And if you could turn the camera to horizontal, that would be great, so we can get a wider.
Horizontal. And can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So let's start. This is the cabin levels. So
Unfortunately, the picture hasn't. The picture is now on the side for us. Maybe just turn it vertical, and that will be fine. It hasn't reorientated automatically. That's fine. Thank you. Please continue.
Perfect. So we're not now starting in cabin number 1. We have 10 cabins available. All of them have this amazing view. So you're reminded of the Galapagos at all times, as well as the shower. So while our guest is taking a shower, they literally can see dolphins or sea lions at the same time. We have a coffee station available for them with everything that they need. They also have safe available. So this is how the cabins look. The bathroom with all the amenities that they need. Okay. Okay. This cabin has a connecting door because when we have family departures, sometimes the parents can be in cabin number 1 connected with cabin number 3. We also can accommodate 3 guests in one cabin if they need to. We do most of the time with family departures as well. Here you can see a twin accommodation. Okay. All of our guests have Apple TV available at their cabins. Okay. Okay, so next I'm gonna take you to our main lounge. This is where our guests enjoy every meal. Okay, so here we have our coffee station available, our snack bar as well. And this is our beautiful main lounge. Also, we have windows all around as well as the cabins level. We are preparing everything for lunch later. Okay. This is our bar. Here we have Guillermo. Hi. Getting everything ready for our guests. And as you can see, this is our very spacious main lounge where our guests enjoy their daily briefings. Here's where the guides will tell our guests what they're gonna do every day. Okay. Main area. And this is where we place all the activities, or we recommend our guests that take a picture of it and they can keep the itinerary with them at all times. We also have our food and bar menu available for them to scan so they can keep it with them at all times. And next, it's a lovely seating area that we have outside. Right now we are at Fernandina Island. And the favorite part, the sun deck. This is where our guests enjoy barbecues and also some breakfast. This is Victor, our barman at the sun deck. He's arranging everything for our guests right now. Hi. Sun deck area. Deck bar. And the jacuzzi with an amazing view. or shower available for our guests as well in this area. So now we're going to show you where our guests disembark every day at the stern of the boat and where we keep all of the snorkel gear.
Yep.
This is the stern of the boat. This is where our guests get ready every day to disembark. Have towels available for them, walking sticks, and all of their snorkel gear ready for them for the next activity. And this is the platform, the zodiacs that the guests take for their activities as well. And last, I'm gonna show you the gym. That's our cabin attendant, George. Also, the guests have available a gym while they're on board. It's right below the concierge office. So this is our gym area. And we are back where we started our tour. And last but not least, I'm going to show you the Captain's Bridge. Where we invite all of our guests. Our captain loves to receive our guests there if they have any questions or just if they want to take pictures. This is another seating area, very private, that the guests love. Captain's Bridge and our Captain Peter. And through here we go back to the main lounge. Okay. So this is the theory basically. I hope you enjoy it. And of course, we'll be ready to receive you here at Galapagos on board the theory. This could be your home for a week.
Thanks, Daniela. That's wonderful. Really good to see the theory looking her best and obviously very stylish and sophisticated, different scale from La Pinta, so good to draw the distinction there. It was also good to see where the passengers disembark to go on the excursions, because obviously they'd be going on those zodiacs, the small motorboats, very often back and forth from the yacht to the islands. So it's good to see all the facilities you have down there as well. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. We'll be waiting for you here at the Galapagos on board the theory. Thank you.
Thank you. The next vessel that we're going to look at is the Evolution, and she is a mid-size expedition vessel taking up to 32 guests. Slightly older, more classic style. You can see from the picture there with the several masts. She does 7 and 14 night itineraries as well, and has a particularly good program for families and very modern amenities on board. So we're going to hear from them now as well. Come in, Evolution. Hello, do we have the evolution?
Is it Danny?
Yeah, I think it's Danny. I am calling them.
Just need to be patient. This is the kind of technical difficulty that I was talking about at the start. It's
Good internet connection is hard to come by out in the Pacific Ocean. So
particularly on the islands in the middle. This is via satellite link. I think the Danny. I know that they organized to have their internet specialist on board when we did the rehearsal yesterday to be able to solve any issues. But if they don't, we may have to come back to them.
I think I will speak briefly about our next point of interest, which is the Finch Bay Hotel, and hopefully we will be able to come back to the evolution shortly when we've resurrected the connection. So we've spoken primarily about cruises around the Galapagos and the different lengths of cruises, etc., and what would be included. And we've seen some of the wonderful accommodation and facilities on board. For those who aren't so comfortable being on a yacht or a ship for a longer period of time, there are also land-based options for being in the Galapagos, one of which is the excellent Finch Bay Hotel, a luxury hotel based on the Santa Cruz island, which is the central island in the Galapagos. Just on the edge of the town of Puerto Ayora, they have a number of suites with lovely terrace and sea-facing views. Their standard rooms don't face the sea, they face towards the surrounding countryside and the wonderful gardens in which the hotel is set. There's an excellent swimming pool there, an excellent restaurant as well, but particularly important is that they have their own small cruising boat called the Sea Lion, on which they offer day trips to nearby Bartolome, South Palacios, North Seymour and Santa Fe Islands. So you can do a relatively full program of excursions during your stay there on day trips out onto the nearby islands, but not staying on the boat overnight, which is a good option for those who don't have good sea legs. And you can see here an example of the kind of accommodation and style you would have staying at the Finch Bay. There's the Sea Lion there, and also some of the excursions that you could do up into the highlands, for example, to see the giant tortoises. So that's the Finch Bay. There are other hotels around the islands as well. The drawback of staying on a hotel is that you don't have the same range as you would have sleeping on the boat and skipping from one island to the next every day. So you are a little bit more limited in where you can visit, but other than that, it's a wonderful experience and you get to do a number of excellent excursions. We're going to see if we can come back to the evolution now, if we've fixed the connection.
I think we do have Dolores. We just
Indeed, I am here, but the evolution is actually connecting in a couple of minutes. So if it's, you know, they're actually trying to connect at the moment. So if you could please hold it just a second for them to get to be online, okay?
mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, I would like to possibly add that there are many different types of yachts in the Galapagos. We have chosen three who are particularly good, and maybe the criteria was actually the ones that had the best internet connection, to be honest. So that there are other types of smaller vessels, larger, and different itineraries, so we can advise on all the variety of yachts available, different itineraries as well. which is something that we'll touch on at some point, but which is important to consider, so that you can see different highlights. I mean, to some extent, you can't see all the islands. We can't visit all the islands because that would be a 2-week itinerary. Although you can, I say you can't, but you can. It's just that it's 2 weeks, the way that the itineraries are devised. That actually, the itinerary is actually licensed and staggered so that the boats are not all in the same place at the same time. So they agree between them, and they agree with the Darwin Institute what the itineraries should be. And each one has its own. They all have highlights, obviously. They make sure that all the itineraries are good in their own right. So you can just see whether there are certain preferences. If you have certain species that you want to see at close range, then you can choose the itineraries. They also have very much, one of the highlights is that you can see the animals at close range, and that's something that comes from the experience of walking along very well-defined trails, so that people don't wander around everywhere, and it protects the habitat for the wildlife. Are we able
I think
to
we
see
might
now?
be joined by the evolution shortly.
Okay, Nick, take over. So just another bit of information about the yachts. I mean, we almost try to match.
Okay, evolution is
the yacht with-
evolution. It's connected. Has connected already. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, there we go. The evolution is ready for us.
Hello, evolution.
Here we go. If the evolution, can you put yourself on, put your camera on? Because you're on mute, but we need your camera on. Perfect. You just put yourself
we can
in
see you.
mute. If you can just start.
Yes, evolution, we can see you. Yes. Steve, can you put the camera horizontally?
And you can start if you want, but unmute yourself as well, because you're on mute.
You are muted, Steve. You are muted. Steve, you are muted. What is going on with these guys?
I don't think they can hear us. That's the problem. So they're waiting for
Steve,
us.
can you hear us?
Steve, please go ahead.
Wave if you can hear. He can't hear.
I would like to mention that we rehearsed this, and they
Can you
did it
hear us? You are
yesterday.
There
So
you go.
now he's ready.
Good morning,
I think
everybody.
now he's ready. So over to you. Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
Hola, good morning, everybody. I'm Steve, and I'm the hospitality manager of the boat, and I'm going to show you the embarking process of our guests. So here we can see our platform. When our guests arrive, they are welcomed by our crew, and we are following all the disinfection protocols for their safety. As soon as they arrive on the Evolution, our doctor is ready as well to take the temperature and to disinfect his hands and his clothes. Following that, we offer them a refreshing towel for freshen up and a delicious refreshing drink. On a normal day, our guests start the day with a land visit at 8 a.m. in the morning, snorkeling, kayaking activity by 11, and an afternoon land visit at 3 p.m. Some extra activities as well, whenever it's possible. Right now, I'm doing the walk our guests take when returning from the walks or any of the activities. I'm heading now to the jacuzzi area. This is probably the most popular area, especially after the snorkeling. Here, guests can enjoy some drinks when using the jacuzzi or just enjoying themselves, and where the wetsuits, snorkeling gear, and kayaks are kept. Now I'm going to show you Deck A. Here we can find the sunbathing area, the main bridge, and 3 of the suites of the Evolution. Right here, you are the live rafts of the yacht. The Evolution carries and complies with all the regulations. This is an area for those who want to enjoy a bit of, read a book, and especially enjoy the wonderful view that you are looking at it right now. Now we are going to go to the bridge. This is where the magic happens, and all the plans are carefully planned. To you, our Captain Victor.
Hello, good morning. Welcome on board of Evolution, and thank you for choosing to sail with Quasar Expedition. This is the navigation bridge. The vessel is outfitted with a modern navigation equipment for your safety. The vessel is one main engine Caterpillar that produces 1,300 horsepower. Our average speed is 11 knots. We have 3 generators, one of which is used regularly, and the other 2 are on standby. The vessel carries 32 guests, accommodated in 3 suites and 13 cabins, twins, doubles, and triples. Evolution has 18 crew members, a ratio of 10 guests per night. The vessel offers the service of medical doctor at all the times and well-stocked infirmary. Many thanks for visiting us, even those virtually. We look forward to having you as soon and showing you the best of the Galapagos. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Captain Victor. Now we're going to have a quick look at the modern equipment the bridge has for the safety of our guests. We have a CCTV as well, 24/7. And one of the best features of the Evolution are her 360-degree decks. Our guests can walk around the yacht so as to never miss something that nature offers so often in the islands: a feeding frenzy, a pot of dolphins, and whales and mantas. We're going to have a quick look at one of the suites we have located on Deck A. This is suite number 3. As you can see, very spacious with an ensuite bathroom. Following our visit, we are to the outside bar. In this area, our guests can gather together after excursions, enjoy little snacks, enjoy themselves, take a nap, look at the sunset, and enjoy the wonderful combinations that our bartender Cesar prepares for them every time. We have a couple of guests here who are enjoying a free time on board of the Evolution. We're going to have a quick look as well to one of the biggest suites of the Evolution. This is the suite A1. Full big windows, so you can nature from the commodity of your room. The Evolution has some of the largest cabins that any yacht in the Galapagos. Now I'm going to show you the social areas. So we are going to go down the stairs. And here we have an al fresco dining area. So whenever the weather is nice and it's possible, our guests breakfast at the al fresco dining. Here we have our main dining area, where most of the meals are served. Our staff is getting ready for our next service. There we have our waiter Kevin, and our main chef Giancarlos. A very spacious and comfortable area for the guests to enjoy a wonderful cuisine. We offer our meals here, and we have a combination of local and international cuisine. We make an effort to use local ingredients to provide a different eating experience to our guests.
Unfortunately, we're losing you a little bit, Steve. We can see your picture, but we can't hear you.
With any special dietary requirements or restrictions. Now where I am most of the times. We have. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Bit better now. Please continue.
Okay. So now we are at the coffee station where our guests can enjoy fresh brewed coffee every morning, hot infusions, and some. And this is the main lounge. Naturalist guides every day so they can inform our guests the activities for the following day. We have a little library here for the guests to enjoy some quiet time. So many thanks for your visit, and I hope you can visit us very soon, and we will be happy to have you on board of the Evolution. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to show you our beautiful boat, and hopefully we will have you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
Well done, Steve. Thank you very much. The Evolution is looking wonderful. It really makes you want to be there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very good to see, again, the distinction between the other vessels, this Evolution, more mid-size, a bit more classic with sort of traditional, more traditional style, traditional lines, bare wood, but with a kind of sophisticated modern touch also, which they've added more recently, but a beautiful vessel. And again, lovely outside seating areas as well for drinks and alfresco dining. I'm going to come back to the presentation now, and that marks the end of our visit to the Galapagos Islands. Sadly, we say goodbye, and we fly to the mainland, to the city of Guayaquil. Which you can see here is in the on the Pacific coast almost. It's just sits on a large river here. It's a port city, and it's in the lowlands. So we're not in the mountains yet, which means that it's got a very tropical climate, lots of colourful architecture, as you can see from this picture specifically. And you can see here the riverside running through it. It's quite a modern, bustling city with some high-rise buildings going up, but so quite a lot going on there, quite a sort of hustle and bustle, and it can make a very nice stop either before or after visiting the Galapagos. One of the main things to see there are some of the wonderful parks and the churches, but also the riverside, what they call the Malecon, sort of promenade area. This is where a lot of the excellent bars and restaurants are, for example. It's where lots of people congregate after work. It's where the real sort of social life of the city happens. That's the Malecon promenade. You can see here some of the attractions on the side of the Malecon. Wonderful sort of architecture here. Lighthouse that's been colourfully painted. And some of the more traditional quarters as well, with the more colonial style houses, sort of wooden fronted houses, again very colourful, as I mentioned, due to, in part to its tropical climate. Around the city as well, you have mangroves and cacao plantations that provide opportunities to take a day trip outside of the city if you wanted to stay a little bit longer and make some of those trips to see how chocolate is produced, for example. Some of the best chocolate in the world is produced in Ecuador. And here you can see, for example, some of the sort of mangrove or swampy areas more outside of the city, and again the little pontoons out onto the river. One of our favourite hotels in Guayaquil is called the Hotel del Parque. It's set in an enormous park, as you can see here, wonderful tropical vegetation, and it's a beautiful historic traditional building, as you can see here from some of these windows with the wonderful traditional shutters, the internal patio here. But it really has been wonderfully styled, very well appointed, traditional type furniture, but with modern colours, very tropical to reflect the tropical atmosphere of the surrounding city and countryside. And you can see here some of the public areas as well, the salon, the restaurant, for example, as well, and some of the patios around here. We're going to hear live from the Hotel del Parque now from Francisco, who's going to show us a little bit around the hotel and the surroundings. Hello, Francisco. Do we have Francisco?
I think the Francisco is having some kind of technical problem.
No,
he
no,
didn't connect.
No, he's connecting.
He's connecting. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
Just a second, because we are a little in advance in the schedule.
Okay, that's fine. So perhaps we should talk about some of the excursions that you can do from Guayaquil, because Guayaquil is a port city, as Nick was saying. It has this very nice quiet park and hotel in the center, and a river, as we're going to see. But it can also be used as a base to travel out about an hour to go to some mangroves and coffee plantations and cacao plantations. So it's certainly worth staying in Guayaquil, or it's certainly not a drawback to stay in Guayaquil for 1 or 2 or 3 nights, I would say. We don't actually happen to have any images of these excursions, but it's certainly something that anyone who happens to stay in Guayaquil that you should consider. With enough time, you can stay and take a trip out of the city. Guayaquil, being a business city, also has some very nice restaurants. And it's quite a wealthy city. There's a lot of very wealthy people in Guayaquil who like the finer things in life. I've actually been to one restaurant and they had wonderful seafood, wonderful fish dishes, and in a very nice setting. As you can see here, actually, at the Hotel del Parque, they have a very nice restaurant there and very nice cuisine. So that Guayaquil can be very interesting as a place to stay. So can I take it back?
We have Francisco.
Caramba. Sí, sí, es que está apagado el.
Looks like we have Fernanda. I'm not so sure what Fernanda is trying to do. But we're supposed to have two guides in Guayaquil. We have Fernanda, a report from the hotel, and one from the Malecón, from the waterfront. So Fernanda is going to show us the Hotel del Parque.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Francisco. Please go ahead.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Francisco Baca. I'm the general manager of Hotel del Parque. Welcome to this tropical oasis. We are in the middle of Parque Histórico Guayaquil. Parque Histórico Guayaquil is a 9 acres of history, nature, and heritage of the coastal area. Here our guests can enjoy a lot of things. We have an animal and then animal trail. We have a pier by the river. So we do boat trips to see Guayaquil by the river. We have a small cacao plantation as well as a coffee plantation. So we do coffee and cacao experiences. We take our guests to the cacao plantation, show them how the cacao is processed, and then we do chocolate tasting with champagne. Or we take them to the coffee plantation, make them roast the coffee, see the Hacienda house where the coffee is processed, and then we do coffee tasting. I invite you to come into the hotel. We are in a historic house, 125 years old, wooden house that even has a church. We are part of Hotel del Parque, is part of Relais Chateau, and also we are part of Oro Verde Hotel, the most important hotel chain here in Ecuador. Please come into the hotel. This is our lobby. And we have 44 rooms. Our rooms are huge with high ceilings. We have 3 restaurants in the hotel. One is Casa Julián. It's very well known by locals. And we're in the list of 50 best discovery. And we are one of the most well-known restaurants here by TripAdvisor. We have another restaurant that is El Jardín, that is in one of our gardens, is where our guests have breakfast and homemade food. And we have another restaurant that is by the river that has Spaniard and Ecuadorian tapas. Our hotel is surrounded by gardens and patios. And we have 2 different patios. And one of our patios is called the Orchid Patio because Guayaquil, the flower of Guayaquil is the orchid. So we have orchids all around our patios. In the middle of the hotel, there is a church. And also in the bell tower, we have a beautiful massage room that you can have a massage with a great view of the Parque Histórico. We have a 24-hour gym and also a lounge where our guests can just relax and take it easy while they enjoy the hotel, the tranquility. We're in the middle of Guayaquil. We're 15 minutes from the airport, 20 minutes from downtown, from the Malecón. But our guests feel that they're already in a tropical forest because here is really quiet, patios, gardens. All our rooms are similar. We have 1 park suite, 2 junior suites, and are almost similar. They just
I think we're losing you a little bit. We have been losing the connection, Francisco.
Unfortunately, your picture has frozen and we can't really hear.
Here we go. We can see now and we can hear. You can keep going. Sorry.
Okay, you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna see if can you see the room now? Okay,
Yes.
when we go to the room, we lost it, but now you can see the room?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Beautiful.
Okay, this is the style of our rooms. All the rooms are similar. The decoration is similar. They just change in size. We have 18 rooms with the connecting doors. It's spectacular for families. And for families, we have a lot of things to see also in the park. Well, this is Parque Histórico. This is Hotel del Parque. I invite everyone to come and visit Ecuador, Galapagos, and Guayaquil. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Francisco. Beautiful to see the hotel, wonderful architecture there, surrounded by the gardens. And I think it's particularly nice because you'd see something there that you really wouldn't see in most other places in Ecuador. Many people go to the mountains or to the colonial cities, and you can see the beautiful sort of tropical side of Ecuador here as well.
Yes,
so
here they can see a lot of the coastal area in one park because we have the plantations, we have the mangrove tree by the river, we have the orchids. So our guests and our visitors can see a lot of the coastal area fauna and flora that we have here.
And it makes a reason to visit Guayaquil more than for just a stopover. It's an experience in itself and a reason to spend more time in Ecuador.
Yes. I don't know if Ilse is ready in Guayaquil in the Malecón. She's going to show us the Malecón.
Yes, we are hoping to hear from Ilse, who will be on the Malecón that I mentioned before. Unfortunately, she is also not connected yet. Looks like we might have her. Ilse is just connecting now, so we're going to see another side of Guayaquil and reasons to stay there. Hello, Ilse. Hello, Ilse, can you hear us?
Yes, hi Nick, how are you? Sorry, we started a little bit late. I was in traffic. Yes, here I am, ready to go. Hello.
Hello, yes, please go ahead. Look, wonderful, the sun is out today in Guayaquil.
Yes, we have a clear sky right here. So everybody, welcome to Guayaquil, which is the principal port of Ecuador, and also the gateway for the Pacific beaches and the Galapagos Islands as well. Guayaquil, with a population of nearly 3 million, it's considered the commercial capital of Ecuador. Now, due to its average temperature all year round, it is a very warm and friendly city, considered by many visitors as a light and a progressive tour destination. You need to dress casual. You have a light gastronomy to enjoy, mainly with seafood. And as you can see, Guayaquil is located at the edge of the Guayas River, which is the largest river in the coast. Let me show you the river in front of which Guayaquil lies. Okay. Now, Guayaquil has been built on top of mangroves and estuaries. That is the reason why we can enjoy beautiful green areas. As you can see, we are standing at the promenade right here, which is a 2.5 of a boardwalk that lies along the Guayas River. Okay, so a walk through the Malecón or to the promenade is a must when you visit Guayaquil. Definitely is it's a city that it's a place that you have to visit when you come here. At the very end, as you can see back of me, it's the northern end of the promenade, and it's called the Cerro Santa Ana, or the neighborhood of Las Peñas. This is the place where Guayaquil was settled the very first time back in 1500s. Okay, now other interesting visiting sites when you are in town is the Seminario Park, which is most commonly known as the Iguana Plaza, because there are hundreds of iguanas that live in this place. And if you're looking for nature, if you're a nature lover, then I might suggest a visit in the surroundings of Guayaquil, just on a drive of 45 minutes to an hour, 30 minutes. You can reach the plantations, botanical gardens, also dry forest, conservation areas. And the beaches, which are only about 90 minutes away, offer you a very nice experience with fishermen village and artisans from the coast. Well, what else? I can say a lot of things about my city, of course, but I would say that it's a perfect closing while visiting Ecuador for regions, because due to his connectivity, you can find daily international flights coming through and departing from Europe, United States, and the rest of the Americas. So please come and visit us in Guayaquil. We're going to be waiting for you.
Thanks very much, Ilse. It looks like you've got a wonderful viewpoint up there. You're up on a tower or something?
At one of the point views of the Malecón 2000. I am showing you now the second viewpoint, which is located in front of me. And behind you have the Moorish Tower and the majestic building of the City Hall of Guayaquil. So as I said, this is a viewpoint from the promenade. As you can see, it's a very beautiful sidewalk full of trees where people normally come and have a little walk, enjoy the fresh afternoons. We have people here enjoying as well the view. And at the very end, you can see the Santa Ana Hill with our beautiful peril, which is the ferry wheel. And I don't know if you can appreciate the aerovia, which is a mean of transportation recently inaugurated here in Guayaquil for the local people. Huge buildings, as I said, is a commercial capital. So a lot of movement, offices, people walking in the streets, and of course, the nice river view that we have for all the city. So you can see people around town enjoying the clear and fresh morning that we have here.
That's wonderful. Beautiful to see Guayaquil in the sunshine and everything looking good, brightly colored, the tropical atmosphere alive and well there.
Yes, Nick, I hope someday I can have the opportunity to greet your passengers and yourself with your family. Everybody's very welcome to visit Guayaquil.
I'm sure we're very keen to come and visit as soon as possible. Thanks a lot, Ilse.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. We're going to move on now from Guayaquil to Cuenca, which is a beautiful colonial city further inland. So we're moving to a different part of the country now. If I share, make that full screen, hopefully you can see my screen, full screen there. Cuenca is a colonial city up in the mid region of the Andes, in the south of the country, but in the sort of mid to high Andes at an altitude of about 2,500 meters above sea level. On this map here, you can see the Andes run more or less down the center from Quito through Ambato that you can see here, down through Cuenca. So Cuenca is in the mountains, but it's at a lower altitude as some other places, including Quito. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with wonderfully preserved colonial architecture, churches, the incredible cathedral that you can see there with the blue domes, which we'll see a little bit more of shortly. As you can see here, the front almost Notre Dame in style, an absolutely stunning relic of the colonial past. Here you can see some of the interiors, incredible ornate gold work, marble interiors, columns and these sorts of things, and very detailed statuary of religious icons. The architecture here is colonial, as I mentioned, so you find a lot of churches, wonderful colonnades and squares, patios, these sorts of things. Also, in the downtown area, you still have these traditional old houses, no more than about 2 stories high, with wonderful wooden balconies, many of which have flowers or bougainvillea draped over the sides, wonderfully coloured as well, which gives the whole city a wonderful sort of historical atmosphere. The city of Cuenca is known for a relatively sedate pace of life. And a year-round very pleasant climate because of that altitude at 2,500 meters above sea level, being very close to the equator that we'll talk about more when we discuss Quito. It doesn't really have very distinct seasons, and so it's pleasant year-round to visit. And what you'll find is lots of markets in the little squares, for example, selling flowers and handicrafts, tropical fruit and vegetable, these sorts of things, which is a wonderful way to experience the local life, see the locals, the way that they live, and you know, provide their daily requirements. Here's one of the vegetable markets you can see with wonderful, colourful fruit and vegetables.
No hay que aplastar este botón.
We're going to come to Franco in a moment, who's going to show us a little bit more around Cuenca. What you also have, I should mention before we go to Franco, is that Cuenca is the home of straw, or what we would know as Panama hats. Panama is really a misnomer, and these straw hats are traditional in Ecuador and particularly in Cuenca, and they're still made in some cases by hand, as you can see here, so you can go and see them being produced in a factory, and even if you think that you would suit the style, you could buy one and take it home as a wonderful souvenir, but also in good expectation that it's a very high quality hat. It will last for many years, and so it could be a very good investment for you. So we're going to go live now to Franco, who's our guide in Cuenca, and he's going to show us a little bit of the city and what daily life is like there. Hello, Franco. Franco, we can't hear you now.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
There we go. Good morning, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to introduce one of the most beautiful cities in the country, and for sure also one of the most beautiful cities in South America. And this, privilege to introduce Cuenca to you, my hometown, and to, tell you some small details and information of this lovely city that is in the southern Andes of, Ecuador. And it's just a charming, walkable, picturesque, city. So to start, I will invite you to walk, with me. And, first of all, my name is Franco. So I'm very happy and, very glad to be able to show Cuenca in these 15, 20 minutes. Could be more because this city has a lot to show, but I will try to do my best. So behind me, as you can see, is the new cathedral with the beautiful blue tree domes. I'm gonna change the camera. I'm gonna switch. And we are now in San Francisco Plaza. This is one of the historical plazas in the city of Cuenca. And in front of you, we have this amazing view of the new cathedral and also the name of the city, Cuenca. A very important fact of this great view that we are, having of the new cathedral is that the actually colors of the three blue domes, they have this interesting connection with the heavens. I don't know if you can see, we have sky partially cloudy, but you can see some blue sky also. But this is a nice, matching between the three blue domes and the sky. So it's why some people believe that they build in this way, or they put this, color because they wanted to connect the church with heavens. But this is very, romantic and it's not real, actually. They build in this way because it's the representation of the Cape of the Lady that this church was dedicated to. And the name of this, lady is the Immaculate Conception, and that is the name of this church also. The Church of the Immaculate Conception, the Cathedral of Cuenca. So I will invite you to walk, with me in these very historical streets of the city. We are in an area that is not just a colonial part, but also is a Inca, and not just an Inca, but a pre-Inca, site. In front of me, I don't know if you can see, this is these beautiful, ladies that you see them in downtown and in many parts of the city. Those are called the Cholas Cuencanas. We will have the chance to see more of these, beautiful ladies in the city. But now, just to show you a little bit environment of this plaza, we have here in front where I'm, showing you right now with the camera. This is San Francisco Church. Actually, this is a parish that gives the name to the plaza where I'm standing and speaking to you. And we are gonna be walking to one of the most beautiful areas in town, what is known as the flower market. But while we walk, there's very interesting details about this lovely city, Cuenca has a lot of history. It's a very antique place where people, settle, and they pick up this beautiful city because the water. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, that you should know about Cuenca. Cuenca probably is the only city around the world that has 4 rivers watering the valley. And this is something very special. And of course, these beautiful ladies made of downtown Cuenca, something very special and their traditional custom, wearing the Panama hat, the skirt that we call, polleras, and they live in the countryside, but they come to do their paperwork, so to do any need that they have to do in the offices here in downtown Cuenca. So now we're walking and we are having the views of the new cathedral behind this beautiful church. And something interesting is that many of these, streets in Cuenca now are being planned to be used just for pedestrians, and this is something nice. So people in Cuenca move, as you can see, very slow, very smooth. That's what many, foreigners like. You can see in this area, this beautiful walkable street. And there's some traditional things like the incense that you see there that is used in order to purify the soul. Also is used for, the service in church. And now we are gonna be behind the something very interesting. There's many, visit Cuenca. Hello guys, how are you today? To the bank. Where are you visitors from?
We're from Czech Republic.
Oh, Czech Republic, amazing.
4 days right now here in Ecuador. How's about you?
Oh, thank you very much for, stopping and speaking with me. We're doing a presentation of, Cuenca for people in London. So, so do you have any comment to share with, you know, the people that is hearing us right now?
It's a beautiful city, and well, we can recommend to come here and enjoy the atmosphere.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day. Enjoy the city. So, you know, Lady Cuenca, something very important also. In the last 12 years, Cuenca has become a very important place for retirement, you know. Actually, in 5 years in a row, was, you know, selected as the best place to retire in the world. And that is for the many characteristics that you already heard in the introduction of the city, but also because Cuenca is a safe, you know, city. As you can see, the streets are very clean. Sometimes you don't find even a paper on the streets. People is very easy and nice, very kind. They're always, you know, ready to hear and to help, you know, the, you know, foreigners. And that makes of Cuenca a very special place for people to retire. And of course, the cost of, you know, living, people from the US, especially that are coming to Cuenca to retire, they come to Cuenca because they can keep the standard of living in a beautiful city. So now we are coming to the flower market. This is one of the most important and beautiful small plazas in the city. And it is just very nice because here you will see the mix of different architecture and make a very special, you know, city and known as the hidden treasure of Ecuador. Because, you know, Quito is like the more colonial or the most popular colonial city in Ecuador, but Cuenca in the last years has become very popular and a must to visit Ecuador. So just to give you an example of the characteristics in the architecture in this area, in front of us, we have a neoclassic building style. We have then in front some, you know, buildings, you know, with a mix, with a style from the, you know, Republican time. We have the new cathedral that actually is an eclectical church, has the mix of many different styles. And just here in front of the flower market, we have this beautiful church that is a pure colonial style. Even though Cuenca is an Spanish colonial, you know, city, you don't see many pure colonial, you know, buildings like, you know, this one. The reason is because after the independence in 1822, Cuenca Frenchified as many other places in Latin America. And they tore down the old colonial Spanish, you know, buildings, and they built in the neoclassic style. That was the influence from France. So now we are entering to one of my favorite places in the city. You can see these beautiful flowers. The, you know, flower markets is very well known because you can find the summer flowers and the roses that Ecuador is very well known for, and also some orchids. Close by Cuenca, there's a lot of farms and haciendas where they cultivate the, you know, roses, summer flowers, and orchids. We have here a friend. Hola, Anita. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo ha pasado? Bien guapa usted como siempre. Muchas gracias. Oh, very nice. You know, people is very kind and they always are, you know, giving flowers to some of the, you know, visitors. And these are the fresh flowers that you can see here in the city of Cuenca. So something very interesting is that roses in Ecuador are not that expensive as in any other, you know, countries. So it's very important for Cuencanos, from people from Cuenca being, you know, romantic, because being romantic is not expensive. Actually, being romantic can be very economic here in Cuenca. So there's no excuses for, you know, gentlemen, don't give fresh flowers to their ladies. That's something very nice that we have here in the city of Cuenca. Just to show you some of the, you know, hiding small shops in Cuenca. This is a very important one in the city. And you see that there's some people, you know, waiting to get a traditional tea that is very, very antique and is made for the nuns that are in this convent, you know, the Santuario del Carmen. And the name of this water is Pitimas water. I don't know if you're able to see, but there's a nice explanation of the etymology of this word. Piti means a little, and mas is Spanish. You know, piti is, you know, Quechua, the, you know, native tongue, and mas is Spanish. You know, piti means a little, and mas means more. So when people come here to enjoy this tea, mi amigo, ¿cómo está el té? Excelente. So when people come here and they get the tea, they always say, please give me a pity mass or give me a little bit more. And it's a very special tea because it has actually the root of the valerian plant, and this helps people to calm down when they feel nervous or stressed about any situation in these modern days. So we will keep walking, and I will bring you to one of the most important and antique streets in the city. This is the street of Santa Ana. Actually, is considered the first street while we cross this beautiful flower market. Actually, this flower market has been considered as one of the most beautiful open flower markets in the world. And that is an important denomination that some magazines have given to Cuenca. Buenos días, ¿cómo está? So you can see here our traditional ladies. They are very beautiful with their Panama hats. As well, I'm wearing a Panama hat because if you are from Cuenca, if you work for tourism, and especially if you're a tour guide, you must wear a Panama hat. That is mandatory for the tour guides here in the city of Cuenca. Following the beautiful hats of our beautiful ladies, Bichola Cuencana. Telling you an important fact of this, lady. Some people sometimes they say that this lady is the indigenous of Cuenca, but actually Cuenca has no pure indigenous population. All the population is mixed. So all the people that you see walking on town, included these, beautiful ladies with the traditional customs, they are mixed, ladies. Some of them look more Spanish, some of them look more indigenous, but they are not pure indigenous people. They are the ladies from the countryside. So now we are, walking here in front of this beautiful neoclassic style. And as you can see in the bottom, it has a very important construction, material for the city of Cuenca. That is a pre-marble, is a rock called, travertine rock. As well here, we are, walking behind the new cathedral. You see all the wall is made with this beautiful material, the travertine, that when it's, polished, actually it looks like marble. It's why some people in the past used to call the marble city to Cuenca, but actually being more precise, it's not a marble, it's a pre-marble rock that it didn't have the time to form as a marble, So now we will keep, walking. In the background, we have another, tower of Santo Domingo Church. A very interesting fact is that Cuenca has 17 Catholic churches in downtown Cuenca, and in the whole city, 54. That means if somebody wants to go to a mass every Sunday, without repeating a church, for a year, they can do it. All right, so now we're gonna get to the first street of the city of Cuenca, Santa Ana. All these buildings have very thick, walls. So if I lose you guys, if I lose some, reception, I will apologize, but I will be back very soon to you. Here we are. Calle Santa Ana Street. And this is one of the jewels in the city of Cuenca because it's a street that is between the new cathedral and very important colonial buildings as the seminary, the old seminary was named San Luis Seminary in the city, that in the old times was used for training for becoming a priest, but now is used for renting different areas for commercials, business, coffee places, and also shops with beautiful and very fancy crafts. So this is a little bit the environment of the city. You can take a look. Always, some visitors from different countries walking and enjoying the streets of Cuenca. Also families, and of course, the flowers in the balcony that make of these areas a very, walkable and comfortable place to walk. So something interesting about this church that we have on my right-hand side is that you see in the base is the travertine rock, but also the rest of the church has a lot of bricks, terracotta bricks. And Cuenca is known as the red city because when you see from the air, everything looks red. It's a terracotta city. And that is, because we have a lot of this clay, a lot of quarries of this beautiful red clay or terracotta clay, and the city used as main material for the construction. This is the, matriarch of Cuenca, Santa Ana, in the side of the, actually cathedral in one of the arches that show you the neoclassic style. And this is the name of the street, Santa. So we will keep, walking. And now I will want to bring you to one of the most beautiful buildings because it has a beautiful courtyard that will give you an amazing view of the three blue domes and the two towers of the cathedral, Seminario San Luis. All right, I don't know, guys, if you can hear me well.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, Franco. Thank you.
Perfect. So now we're gonna cross this aisle. Remember that these are 300, 400 old, buildings, and they have very thick, walls, adobe walls. So I'm gonna cross this aisle. So if I lose, some reception in the next 5, seconds, I will apologize, but I will be soon back to you. All right, so here we are in Seminario San Luis, San Luis seminar. As you can see, some people enjoying coffee, enjoying a snack in the morning. There's other, terraces in this area where some of the visitors and local people also come to enjoy this wonderful area that was restored, recently. And now it's one of the most beautiful places where people from Cuenca and visitors from all over the world can come and visit the city. As you can see, this is a very clear example of another colonial Spanish building. You see the wood, one of the main materials, the adobe walls, as we already passed some of these aisles made of these thick adobe walls. And in the top of the roofs, you have the Spanish tiles. That also is a very important material for the Spanish when they were ruling this area in the colonial time. But look this view. This is one of the nicest views of the new cathedral. And you can see here how beautiful are the domes of the church. And a very special fact about the construction of this church is that in the construction, with all these terracotta bricks that you have, they use more than 2 million bricks for the construction of this church. The base, travertine, and the three blue domes, the beautiful blue sky domes that you see, the tiles were imported from the Czech Republic, actually. So this church has some very special materials imported from Italy, from the Czech Republic, from Belgium, and actually local materials as the terracotta clay. So this is Seminario San Luis, a very special place with very nice coffee places and very good Italian, actually restaurants. And something important is that we always, when we have the city tours in the city of Cuenca, we always want the people to enjoy the environment. And if our guests want to get a cup of coffee, they want to sit down, have a break, we can use these amazing terraces and restaurants for just chilling out a little moment after we have walk in the city tour. So now we're gonna get out and we're gonna go to the heart of the city, Abdon Calderon Plaza, and also we have to cross again another aisle. So if I lose you for a few seconds, I will coming back soon.
That's all good. We've always reconnected quickly before.
Excellent. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So here we are, just in front of the new cathedral. Just in front of the Central Plaza, Abdon, Calderon Plaza. We're gonna try to cross and to just have a little walk in this beautiful plaza that has amazing, actually gardens. It has more than 150 different types of plants, and that makes of Cuenca and this plaza one of the most beautiful plazas in the historical downtowns in many different cities in Ecuador. Something very nice is that also, you see how green is this plaza, right? And it's not just the plaza, it's the whole city. As I was, telling you, we have 4 rivers, and these 4, rivers, thanks to these, rivers, we have beautiful gardens all over the city. And because this reason, Cuenca has been known as a garden city. So it's not like other, cities where you have a lot of concrete. And in order to enjoy a nice green area, you gotta go to a big park. Here in Cuenca, no. Here in Cuenca, you just can walk to the rivers in 10 minutes, 15 minutes of distance, and you can enjoy these beautiful green areas and also coming to the plazas of Cuenca. So we are having the view of the front part of the new cathedral. crossing some of these very old trees. Some of them have more than 100 of, 50 years old. And look at this view. In the middle of the two towers, we have Santa Ana, the matriarch of the city, and we have this beautiful H shape that recall a Gothic style, or I would say a neo-Gothic style. So because some clients from France can complain and they can say it's neo-Gothic, So that's very important. And here we are in the middle of the city, in the heart, and this monument is in order to remember to one of the most important heroes in the country and in South America that contribute with Simon Bolivar in order to give the independence to this beautiful city, Abdon Calderon, to whom this plaza takes the name. And the 8 trees that you see here, these Araucaria trees, are not native from Ecuador. They were imported from Chile 140 years ago by one of the presidents of the country that was from this lovely city, Cuenca. Here we are. This is the view, and around Central Plaza, of course, as the Spanish used to have this classic, layouts of the city, you always have in one corner the religious power, and in the other corner you have the government party, and there is the province house in the other corner. And if you see all the arches, also is part of this classic layout that the Spanish always have, as well as a main plaza, and next to the main plaza, a minor plaza that we already seen, that was San Francisco Plaza. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation of Cuenca. And with this nice background of the new cathedral, I will say, goodbye. And thank you very much for, hearing this presentation of 15, 20 minutes. And actually I try my best because Cuenca easily can take a whole day. But thank you very much. I'm sure that actually Veloso will take very well care of you if you come to Cuenca, and we will always be very glad to guide you and give you all the information and to transmit this nice environment that the city has to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Franco. That's a wonderful presentation of all the reasons to visit Cuenca and to stay not just one day, but several days. And actually, considering you were talking about the wonderful green areas that we can see there in the city, I was wondering if you could say anything about some of the day trips outside of the city that are available, like going to Gualaceo or Chordeleg or even the Cajas National Park, things that a reason to stay longer in Cuenca to take some day trips.
Oh yeah, definitely. Some people can come here and spend easily 1 week, because there's a lot to show. But if you are more into the culture, we have beautiful, valleys and towns. Like we have a tour of the towns, Gualaceo, that is known as the garden of the province, and also is very well known for the flowers. We have close by to this area plantation of summer flowers, and the most beautiful orchid plantations called Ecuagenera. So if you love flowers, this will be the place. We also have Chordeleg, where it's a place where you have a lot of silversmiths, a lot of handicrafts, and it's a perfect place for just buying some crafts to the below ones. And also you see all the local people that we have seen in the city, because many of these ladies that we have seen in the city, these beautiful cholas cuencanas, come from these places. If you like the nature, we have I call Cajas National Park the Garden of Cuenca, or the backyard of Cuenca. Just 30 minutes away from Cuenca to the west, there is this beautiful area that is very special because it's a paramo that is isolated, and it's not very common to find these characteristics in southern Ecuador. But Cajas also is a UNESCO site, and it's a very nice place for hikes. I will consider Cajas one of the nicest places for hiking in Ecuador, because I know that there's many places and beautiful volcanoes that you do nice hikes, you get close to the ice, or you get to the refuges, or you go down to the crater lakes. But in Cajas, you can do beautiful hikes from 3 to 6 hours, and it's just amazing, So it's one of the most beautiful places. As well, we have waterfalls, we have deserts, so there's a lot of activities and tours to do around Cuenca, and everything is just 45 minutes away from the main city.
That's fantastic. So lots of reasons to visit Cuenca and to stay longer, to take day trips outside, as well as enjoying the wonderful colonial architecture and atmosphere there. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful presentation. We can see the sun is shining there.
Oh, yes.
So, good to see Cuenca looking very good, and we hope to visit very soon.
Thank you very much, Nick. So it has been my pleasure. And, Veloso Tours will take care of you here in Cuenca for sure, and you will enjoy very much spending time in this lovely city. So a pleasure, and bye-bye. Looking forward to see you.
Thanks a lot, Franco. Bye-bye. So we're going to move on now. After our wonderful visit of Cuenca, we're going to go north to the capital city of Quito. I'm just going to share my screen here. Quito is the capital of Ecuador. Again, a wonderful colonial city, as we'll see in the pictures in a moment. And this is located in the high Andes.
Me enfoco un segundo y de ahí les voy a mostrar a ustedes y de ahí yo ya me voy, porque voy a decir, voy a hablar de la seguridad y todo eso, y eso va a ser.
Sorry, a little bit of interference there. Quito is here in the north of Ecuador, as you can see, located in the high Andes, about 2,800 meters above sea level. So still not very high, but considerably higher than many other places that you might visit. Surrounded by mountains and volcanoes, very dramatic scenery. You see high snow-capped peaks as you drive in from the airport, for example. And as we'll see in a moment, hills and mountains all around. The city itself is in a plateau that sits among higher peaks and volcanoes. This hill that you can see is almost in the middle of the city. It's called the Panecillo Hill, and it's topped by a statue of an angel up here that you can go up the hill and visit if you like, but you can also see it. It's kind of a point of reference that you can see from many other parts of the city, and it's also lit up at night as well, so it makes a beautiful viewpoint from to see over the rooftops after sundown. As I said, Quito is a colonial city. Being the capital of Ecuador, it's obviously got a lot of the government buildings, for example, wonderful grand buildings of stone and marble in this beautiful colonial style, again with wide tree-lined squares and just stunning architecture really all around the center of the city. You can see here some of the fantastic churches. This is one of the convent of San Francisco, for example, and the enormous square that you have in front of it. This is one of the most impressive churches that you'll find in the whole of Quito. Beautiful gold work in the interior with a variety of styles, both Spanish and Moorish styles. And this is really a Baroque church. You see both inside with the intricate gold work and on the outside as well. Incredibly exuberant and highly ornamented decoration, and lots of artworks as well throughout the building. So that's a particular highlight for your visit if you're interested in that kind of classical art. Also the cathedral here, you see the huge domed roof, for example, and clock towers. Again, very imposing colonial style architecture that sits on one of the hills within the city, and just makes many wonderful things to visit there. The city itself does have some ups and downs, so you can get some wonderful vistas like this one, where you look down the street and over some of the terracotta tiled roofs, for example, and see the Panecillo Hill in the distance. There are a number of pedestrianised streets as well, which make a very sort of slower pace of life in some parts. Quito, being the capital, is quite a busy city. There's quite a lot going on there, people coming and going, both within the city and from outside, coming to market to sell their wares, buy and sell, etc. Lots of businesses going on there as well. But that doesn't detract from its historic character, and it's for that reason that it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site a number of years ago, and a lot's been done to retain that character as well, and to preserve the wonderful colonial architecture. And you'll find throughout the city a number of very good hotels that have been converted from real colonial era houses and turned into boutique hotels, for example, where you can still feel that atmosphere, but in a slightly more modern comfort. The city has many markets, both within it and also outside it, and it's well known for weavings, for example, and handicrafts. So what you can see here are ponchos and rugs that would have been woven by locals, either inside the city or outside, from wool that will have been sheared off sheep, for example, and in wonderful colours with these sort of indigenous motifs as well, so wonderful patterns and pictures on them of natural artifacts. And you can meet some of the handicraft workers who would even have made these things and talk with them, maybe barter a little bit for some of their wares. And as you can see in the pictures here, these markets with lots of goods and wares sort of piled up, and ladies selling their goods. Again, just a very evocative and authentic local experience to have on your visit to Quito. Ecuador is so named because the equator runs through it, and the equator runs fairly close to Quito, not through the middle of Quito, but fairly close. And this incredible monument that you can see here is the Equator Monument. In the picture up here, you can actually see the yellow line that's been painted along the ground, showing exactly where it was calculated that the equator runs, with a S side for south on one side and an N for north on the other. This is where the two hemispheres meet. About an hour outside of Quito by car. It can be visited. Obviously, there are wonderful pictures that you can take with one leg in the northern hemisphere and the other in the southern hemisphere. And there's also a little museum there as well, explaining exactly how scientists over 100 years ago decided exactly where the equator ran. So that can be a particularly interesting part of a day trip in Quito and its surroundings. As I mentioned, there are lots of snow-capped peaks and volcanoes, both in and around Quito. One of the other things that you can do inside Quito is take a cable car up the Pichincha volcano that gives you an incredible panorama sort of view over the top of the city. But other peaks around would be, for example, going a couple of hours outside of the city to Cotopaxi. This is a very high volcano, as you can see, covered with snow and ice. It is an active volcano, and it's also surrounded by an extensive national park where you can go hiking, for example, horse riding. It's excellent for bird watching as well. These are relatively high altitude areas, so you get different kinds of birds that you would in other parts of the country, and it's a wonderful experience for people who want to get out and see a bit more of the high altitude countryside of the mountains. Here are some of the lagoons, for example, that you would see. So it's also possible to stop at small towns on the way and visit the local markets that they have there, horse riding, as I mentioned, and just some of the incredible vistas that you might get of the lagoons and the high mountains surrounding. Also available to do from Quito, it would be a trip down to Riobamba. That's a little bit further away from Quito. You might do it as a day trip, but possibly stay the night there. And this is a smaller, more traditional town which still retains much of its indigenous and ethnic roots. So you'll find a lot of these people wearing their traditional dress, for example, traditional rugs and shawls and the wide skirts of the indigenous women, and you'll find their weavers, where you can see them weaving these really quite large rugs in some cases by hand or with traditional wooden looms. Find the local markets and also find some smaller scale historic churches and haciendas as well. So for people who would like to get out of the city and see more of the countryside civilization and local life, Riobamba would be a very good place to visit as well. We're going to hear live now from Mauricio, who is our local guide in Quito, who's going to show us a little bit of what you would see on a visit to Quito and explain to us what local life is like. Hello, Mauricio. Mauricio, I think you're on mute.
Well, hello.
Hello, Mauricio.
It's me. This is Mauricio. I'm here actually with some policemen who are helping me out. I'm going to do just a little quick introduction. So I want to hand it out to him and talk myself just a little bit about what's our city, what I'm going to try to show you. Let me introduce myself, Mauricio. As Nick told you, I've been in the tour business for nearly 30 years with Veloso, so many other years too. So I'll be in charge when you come to visit Ecuador. And I'm just going to show you the beauty of the city. In the background, you can see right there, the Basilica, a majestic church. So just hand it to me and I'll continue to show you more other things. Oh my God.
We've lost your picture, Mauricio.
Oh. Sorry.
I think you turn off your camera, so just turn it back.
Just trying, sorry.
No, that's okay. We can hear you clearly, so clearly your signal's good.
Okay, just a moment. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Things that happen when things are alive. There we can see, and I'm going to start to show you, as I told you, there are the policemen which were handing out to me, nice guys. And now we're going to visit the Archbishop's building. And you can hear a lot of music, very lively restaurants that we have everywhere. That's the good thing about our city, our nation, that it's back to life. Things go back to normal. Probably I have to tell you, a great number of our population, it's vaccinated. Here we can see some of the sweets. You can try and taste them. And this is an old building where you can see part of the many patios, courtyards that we are able to see. Just at the part above it, restaurants, although it's early still here, but we can see life goes on. People just enjoying. Today, actually, we have a good weather. And we have to say that Quito, proudly, it's the world's first heritage of mankind declared by UNESCO back in 1978. Therefore, many, many things to do and to see while you're here. Churches, cloisters, 400 hectares occupies the old section of the city. We are heading to this marvelous place, which is the heart of the city, Independence Square. Where around you can see different buildings dating back from the 15, 16, 1700s. We can see the Archbishop building with a clearly neoclassical style. The City Hall, unluckily not a very pretty one, demolished the beautiful colonial back in 1975. And all around, we can see just colonial art. Restaurants up there. This is called the main square, Independence Square. Definitely the heart of the city where everything goes on. The cathedral with its clear Moorish influence, if you notice. And people sitting around enjoying. Actually, it's a nice weather today, so that's really worth it. And, oh, there you are. There's something going on right now. I don't know what it is, but I'm going in front of them. We can see also with this side, this church. In the background, we can appreciate with a clearly French style influence and Italian. Carondelet Palace, or the seat of our government. I'm going to get closer. You can appreciate, I hope you can see it. The Granaderos with a clearly Prussian style uniform right at the entrance of the presidential palace. An interesting thing also about this big building, it's at the wrought iron balconies you're able to see were originally the palace of the Tuileries in France. And they brought it some time ago. Cloisters, churches, another view of the main square. And I will continue to this street, a great part of the old city. It is pedestrian. That way you can feel more relaxed just to walk around, to dine around. 30 museums are open here. Well, some of them with a limited visitors because of the pandemic, which we are really working out. It's really succeeding and much better in the situation that many other countries. Now we can appreciate this beautiful building nowadays, the Metropolitan Cultural Center. This was before the first university of Quito, one of the first ones. And you can see this building, part of the presidential building too. Let's have a quick look in here. And again, there's something going on here. I see something that is going to happen. Very official, as you can appreciate. Underneath this part, we have the Wax Museum. An interesting, which shows you about the life of independence years. Let's get out again. And see on this side, the cathedral. And walk through the same street, the pedestrian. You can hear live music. And as I said, churches every corner. Just picture that Quito between its cloisters, churches, chapels, 87 altogether. So if you love art, this is the city. By the way, Quito, it's also the entrance to many places where to go and visit. The Amazonic area, the highlands, the coast. Just appreciate this amazing piece of art. Very Baroque, gold gilded. The Church of El Sagrario. Of course, we would need like 4 days to see Quito. I'll try to summarize to show you a little bit. Live music, restaurants with our cuisine, the architecture of each one of these buildings. Just like my colleague in Cuenca was letting you know, people are not aware of the great Italian, French, obviously Spanish influence we have. And that's why we have our cities declared by UNESCO sites, cultural heritages. Speaking of beautiful building, you can appreciate in the street corner to your right, this, where it says Central Bank of Ecuador, built in the early 1900s, an amazing, beautiful building. Nowadays, the Numismatic Museum. And now here's what is a must. This church that already Nick spoke about it, the Church of El Sagrario, sorry, of La Compañía de Jesús, the Society of Jesus, which is an amazing church. We'll have a little glance to it. Just see this doorway. The Moorish influence, this masterpiece church. There we can see part of the church. It's really a masterpiece. And as I always said to my people when we tour, if you have not seen this church, it's like you haven't been to Quito. gold everywhere. But it's more the masterpiece of the art of making these churches, the time that it took, and really an amazing one. Wish I could show you a lot more of it, but I'll try to show you a little bit more. Let's say thank you very much, the guard. Muchas gracias. And we continue appreciating the style, the buildings of each one of these historical sites. More music. Music everywhere. You can see in the background part of what Nick was telling you also. The funicular located on the top.
Quito is sounding very happy and lots of music in Quito today, Mauricio.
And we can see this very old building, which now it's going to become one of the new subway stations, or underground, as you call it in the UK, that hopefully will be opened this upcoming year. Now, we're heading to another typical square, San Francisco, which is one of the oldest, dating back from 1535. Another very lively place with its church. You can see some people actually by the bell towers. We also have a pretty good view from here of our wing Madonna on the top of the hill, if you can appreciate it. This building or this area, it's very important because here it's one of the first places that introduced wheat from Europe was planted in the 1500s. We have an excellent view of some of the churches, the one that we just went through, the Gold Church. More other shops, more places to be visited. From here, we can see this church has been one of the most affected in past times because of quakes. As a matter of fact, the towers were twice as high as we can see it. The thing is that if you really are interested in colonial art, this is the city to visit. Churches, as I remark, almost every corner. A little quick glance of this church. And although they're having a mass service, I'll do it just from the distance. Sorry, I just have to be quiet. Just in this complex, which is considered the largest religious complex in the Americas, San Francisco, over 40,000 square meters. It houses 2 chapels, as you can see this one, the next one, over there, Cantuña Chapel, and 8 cloisters. We can see also in the background, another church, another cloister, Santa Clara, Saint Clair. Many of these cloisters could be arranged with the special ways to do it. Others are open the whole time, but nevertheless, Each one of them are amazing, really. Now we're going to go into one of the beautiful boutique hotels, like this one, Casa Gangotena. Oops, there's a bus in front of us, sorry. And we can see this building. I had to tell you, many of these places do have a strong fire safety security. That is why you see people wearing masks, like myself. Buenos dias. Here we go inside. Buenos dias. There you see the friendly staff of Casa Gangotena. That tells you about the past of the city, the elegance, a very refined place. Here it is where you can have your afternoon tea if you want to. This is what our country is famous. It's roses, world's first exporter of roses. The beautiful gardens. And you can actually enjoy the comfort of these beautiful hotels, inns, but being right in the middle of such an ancient city. Remember that Quito was established by the Spaniards in 1534, but the traces go back as much as 10,000 years ago. This it took a couple of years to renovate this hotel, which proudly it's considered, or was considered a couple of years ago, one of the 15 top boutique hotels in the world. And now we're going to do something interesting. Not everybody could see. Just take a little time. And appreciate some of the rooms you can stay at. And to complete this visit, marble, they try to maintain as original as it was the house before. And this time consuming, it is because of this. You are rewarded with a total view of the old section. The Gold Church, the Basilica. A few minutes ago, we were at San Francisco. The church itself. In the background, Our Lady of Mercy, and many other places, as you can appreciate. In the background, hello, the beautiful green mountains of Quito. Hello. Buenas. The tile roofs you find everywhere, and the winged Madonna on the top. Over there too, we can see that monument which commemorates the independence battles we have to go through back in the early 1800s. Well, folks, I think it is time to say goodbye. I show you a little bit of Quito, but there's much more things to do and to see while you're here. Oops, I take off my mask and I just want to thank you the time and to show you, and I hope to see you very soon here in Quito to appreciate not only the beauty of the city, everything that we have. Rainforest, we have the Pacific Islands of the Galapagos, the Western Lowlands, and everything in between, nature and so on. 20% of Ecuador's surface land are national parks and protected areas. So that means we have plenty to show you. So most of all, with a lot of safety. So I'll tell you from the middle of the world, see you and hope to see you very soon here in Ecuador. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thanks, Mauricio. A wonderful view there over the top of, over the rooftops of the colonial part of Quito. An incredible, you know, a viewpoint that not everyone is able to see. And a wonderful visit around some of the principal parts of Quito as well. Just several of the reasons to make a stay in Quito. We're going to move to our next destination, which is the cloud forest, particularly the Mashpi Lodge. If I just share my slides here. Mashpi Lodge is located in the cloud forest, as you can see, which is not the Amazon, it's not the rainforest. This is to the east of, to the west of Quito, in the mountains, about 3 hours away by road. And this is really one of the biodiversity hotspots of Ecuador. We're still in the mountains, we're relatively high up, but it's very humid there, relatively cold, and what designates cloud forest is that clouds really form around these forest-covered mountains. And the cloud forest is particularly well known for bird watching as well as other wildlife. So you can see here the difference between the sort of morning and evening, again clouds gathering around these forest-covered mountains. So you've got incredibly sort of wild scenery here. And the lodge, if you can see just in the center there, is really nestled within the forest on top of one of those mountains. And these are some of the views that you would have from the lookout points and paths around the lodge. The lodge itself is set on extensive grounds within quite a large property, a lot of which has been protected, so you've still got a very thick, dense forest there, perfect for both attracting wildlife and being able to watch it from the paths and viewpoints that you'll see when you take an excursion there. So here you've got an example of some of the rivers that run through, sort of thundering through these gorges with white water, a very humid forest, as you can see here, with lots of sort of very exuberant vegetation. Here's one of the birds, for example, that you can see just perching on the branch. This actually gives you a good example of how difficult it can be to see the wildlife. You know, we've got a very large forest, very dense vegetation, and just spotting a small bird like this on the branch of a tree would be very difficult if you were on your own. And so that is why it's very important to go out on the guided excursions with an expert naturalist guide who will know where to spot them, the birds or wildlife. Be listening out as well for bird calls to be able to identify exactly where they are and have a better opportunity of seeing them. And you'll see much, much more in the way of wildlife if you're with a naturalist guide versus if you're just wandering out in the forest on your own. The lodge has got excellent facilities with places for seating, balconies covered so that you would be protected if it should rain, and excellent equipment like high-powered lenses and telescopes to be able to take you what feels like right up close to birds and wildlife, even if they're in distant treetops. And so you can see here one of the guides trying to spot a bird that's clearly in the distance and to show it to one of the clients. You would go out on excursions every day, morning and afternoon, if you choose, through the forest with one of the expert local guides, as I said, along pathways through the forest. If necessary, if you're going to walk along wet areas or perhaps ford small rivers and streams, you would have Wellington boots, for example. So it is relatively adventurous, some of the activities there as well. And you're really able to feel like you're within the forest and getting the best experience of it. As I mentioned, the bird life, there's a huge amount of bird life, including hummingbirds, for example. You can see here feeding on the nectar from flowers and other different kinds of birds within the forest, but also other kinds of wildlife as well, such as otters and frogs and even snakes and other reptiles, which you can either, well, you're unlikely to be able to get very close to them because they're all wild animals, and so they're likely to flee if you get too close. But you could spot them from a distance, again, with the help of your naturalist guide. We're going to go live now to Mark, who's the general manager at Mashpi Lodge, and he's going to show us a little bit of the facilities that they have in the hotel itself and explain better some of the excursions and activities that they have on offer. Hello, Mark.
Hello. Okay, there I am. Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Mark. I'm actually Mexican, been living in Ecuador for a little bit more than 20 years. And the last 7 years in this beautiful, beautiful paradise called Mashpi. I'd like to show you a little bit around. And just to start with, just to give you an idea. There you go. So this is gonna be the main road to come into Mashpi. And this is what you're gonna find. An amazing construction, a cocoon in the middle of the forest. And something that is amazing, why are we here? A piece of Mashpi history. There used to be a logging camp right here. It was established maybe 30 years ago at a time when nobody cared about nature. So this logging camp came here, they cut down everything they could, but thank God they left. And we as a group bought the land only for protection and conservation purposes. And after a while, we decided to build a lodge so we could bring people in. And as I like to say, we like to bring tourists here to Mashpi and send naturalists back home. And so the lodge is a perfect tool to do that. So welcome. Welcome. Let me show you a little bit around. This is our front desk, always busy. Small lounge, the lobby. And just to give you an idea, this is our experience menu. So we have adventures for all kinds of tastes. No, if you like a water experience, we have different waterfalls for bird lovers. We even have challenging ones for very fit people. And to give you an idea of how easy or tough it is, we have this topographical model of the reserve. So you can see more or less how easy or how hard your walks are gonna be. So this is the welcoming part of our lodge. Let me show you the restaurant. We provide fine dining here, and right in the middle of the forest, as you can see, you're surrounded by nature. So this is a great place to be. Then we have, thank God we're a little bit busy, but let me show you, this is This is our exploration room. This is Victor over there. He is our expeditions manager, taking care of incoming guests, and he's doing a small orientation regarding all outdoor activities. You're going to find all around the lodge small lounges such as this one, just to relax during the afternoon if you want to have a drink, coffee, or maybe just read a book. And this is one of the corridors where you will find our rooms. And I would like to show you one of our suites, because you need a comfortable place after hiking all day long. You need a comfortable place to come back to. Voila. This is one of our suites. Bed, and then the view. Again, right in the middle of the forest. We don't have TVs. We don't need them. You have an HD screen in front of you. Same program all day long, but beautiful. So you're surrounded by the forest. And we provide all of our guests with their expedition kits. We make sure you have water on your trails. We give you insect repellent. This is tropical forest, so mosquitoes are expected. Hey, a nice bathtub just to relax. And this is one of our suites. I will show you a little bit later one of our regular rooms. This is a view, the outside view. Now I'm going to show you. This is the middle floor. So we have 24 rooms divided in 3 floors. This is for us like the main floor, because a lot of things happen around here. We have the front desk. We have a small boutique. Very important. We almost never use it, but we have a doctor on site 24/7, just in case. You never know. Sometimes, you know, mosquito bites may cause allergic reactions. And we have a doctor who is very knowledgeable about tropical diseases. Again, we almost never use him. He is mastering crochet because he's always bored. That's good. Let me show you our spa. We have a small spa, but it's great after a long walk to maybe have a great massage. There you go. The massage room, very simple, with a very beautiful view again. We have 2 rooms, so we can have 2 massages at the same time. And finally, let me show you, we have a panoramic terrace overlooking the forest. Hey, look at that bird. Oh, it flew away. That was a mossback tanager, Mashpi's logo. So we have this terrace, again, overlooking the forest with a very nice view, great place to take pictures. And we do an optical equipment workshop every morning. So we teach our guests how to use binoculars in the middle of the forest, because we want our guests to be the ones discovering what's outside. I love to say that you come to Mashpi to discover wildlife. Now, I'm going to show you one of our regular rooms, this floor, the 3rd floor. Again, another place to relax during the afternoon. Just imagine yourself, look at the view, just being here, sipping a nice daiquiri, or maybe just tea, and with this view in front of you. And now I'm going to show you one of our rooms. Well, so this is the room, twin beds. Again, you still have exactly the same amenities. You have this exploration kit. Again, a very nice view with total privacy, because as you can see down there, you have those wooden panels. So you cannot see from one room to the other. So that's very important. If you want really a nature immersion, that's the best way to do it. Just for you to know, A very nice bathroom with all the amenities, anything you need. Now, the idea to build this lodge and why we have so many window panes, so many windows around, is because we want the forest to be the main character here. We don't want people to waste time looking at what's going on inside the lodge. So I don't know if you have noticed, but anywhere you stand, anywhere, you can see through the lodge and into the forest. That's something that our guests love because you cannot be closer to nature without mosquitoes than this. This is our restaurant. And more important, the bar. That's Fernando. If you come down here, he's gonna be your best friend. I promise you that. He makes nice piscos. And now I'm gonna show you, we have a sliding door. I'm gonna go out. Hopefully we're gonna have a nice internet connection because I wanna show you a little bit the back view of our lodge. So this is the way our trails look like. This is the main trail. The ones we use to explore the forest are a little bit narrower. As you said, yes, we always do that. We're with guides because we want the guides to show you everything that's around. And also for security reasons, we love our guests to be in a very safe place. And of course, the view. Now you can see at the very end why we call Mashpi the place where clouds are born. This is an incredible place. I have been here for 7 years and I love it. I love this place. It's so magical. You leave this place completely relaxed once our guests have to leave back to their hometowns. They leave completely relaxed and new. And that's why I would like to invite everybody to come down here to experience Mashpi, to live the Mashpi experience, and to understand that is very important because this is not only a lodge. We do a lot of things. We do community work. We work a lot with sustainability. We do research, scientific research around the forest. So there's a lot of things going on, and we would like you to come down here and be a part of it. That's the way our trails look like. So as you can see, narrow, and they go deep, deep, deep inside the forest. And our lodge. Our staff. So yes, we have cooks. I hope you liked it. I hope I could have brought a little taste of what Mashpi is. And again, you're more than welcome. We're just 3 hours away from Quito with a very scenic view. It's a very nice ride. It's really worth it. And this place is incredible. So again, just to remind you, my name is Mark and I'll be waiting for you. Since this is me without a mask. So again, thanks for the opportunity to show you my piece of paradise, and I will be expecting you.
Thanks, Mark. It's amazing to have such a wonderful view of the forest and the lodge as well. And I think it's particularly nice how you said that the forest is really the key character there, that you can see outside from every place inside the lodge. It makes the forest is the experience and the reason to go. Lodge is looking great, very well appointed, stylish and minimal inside, but with very good high standard facilities, and perfect for making a base to get out and explore the forest. So Mashpi is certainly one of our favorite places in Ecuador for that reason. Next destination on our tour around Ecuador is to go up to the highlands. And I'm just going to share my screen here. We're going up to the highlands of Ecuador, up into the Andes, to a historical hacienda, wonderful colonial style hacienda called Zuleta, which really retains, as you can see here, the wonderful charm and tranquility of the colonial period in the rural area, with wonderful flowers all around, the colonnades you can see here, open squares, tiled roofs, and large areas where, for example, the horses would have been corralled before going on a ride out into the countryside. There you go, there are the horses ready to be exercised or saddled up and mounted. The hacienda, as you can see, is built out of stone. It's got very thick walls, makes a very sort of cozy atmosphere to be inside, with large windows in many places to let in the natural light. But in the interior you can see with lots of wood and antique furniture, and sort of historic artifacts and things like this. And you'll find that out in the countryside, again a little bit like Riobamba that we saw earlier, people will still wear their traditional dress, especially if they're from indigenous communities, for example. They'll wear the weavings or traditional styles of skirts or suits for the gentlemen. And so it's a very atmospheric place to go as well. Inside, as you can see, the accommodation is very comfortable while rustic, with comfortable beds and exposed beams, little wood-burning stoves for keeping warm. You are up in the mountains, so it can get cold at night, but they keep the guest accommodation very warm for you and very cozy with blankets and rugs as well. Excellent food at Zuleta as well, using a lot of organic produce, locally grown fruit and vegetables, for example, and they have an excellent chef there. And even creating their own cheeses from locally milked cows, as you can see here, stamped with the Hacienda Zuleta logo. There are lots and lots of activities to do from the hacienda, from simple walks out into the countryside among the mountains to longer horse rides, and you can go out with a guide, for example, on horses to explore the countryside. You're among the mountains, so it's incredibly sort of idyllic scenery, very different from anything that we would have in this country, for example, and then gathering around at the end of the day around a log fire, for example, to have a drink and a chat or listen to stories or anything like that. So again, that real sort of peaceful, rustic and historic atmosphere. We're going to hear now from Fernando, who is the latest in a long line of the owners of Hacienda Zuleta, of a very illustrious family, and he's going to show us a little bit more around the hacienda and explain to us the things that you can see there. Hello, Fernando.
Hello, can you see me?
We can see you. We can't hear you so well. Maybe you can move a little bit closer to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Fernando, and I'm the general manager here, also the part owner of this beautiful state. I've been lucky enough to be the guardian of this place. No? I'm gonna change now to the building itself, although you show beautiful pictures, no? But I don't like my face a lot. So. Okay, so
we're still pointing at you, Fernando.
Yes, I know this. Okay.
There we go. Got it.
You saw a lot of pictures already that you've been shown, and I'm in charge of this beautiful place. And basically, we are only 2 hours north of Quito and about an hour and 45 minutes from the airport. So quite close, excellent roads. Ecuador has given a lot of investment to tourism and roads and security throughout the road. So I think that's not an issue here in Ecuador. I'm also very privileged to be the last of this presentation of Ecuador, where you have seen so many incredible things about Ecuador and how varied this is. And I'm gonna walk you to my home, no? And it's indeed a home. So the key element, it took me 2.5 years to convince my family, that's Fito, that's Mambo, to convince my family to open for guests. No? And what we have kept and promised our family is that we, please, sorry, please come out. Sorry, we're going walking. Enjoy. And thank you for coming. Guest, able to show you are hooked with 2 groups, one from the UK and one from the US. Now, so here I am in like our most
If we lose Fernando's connection every once in a while, that's because the walls are very thick, made of stone, but he will come back shortly.
My grandfather, who was president once of Ecuador, and they finished their term, which is very, very difficult sometimes in Ecuador, no? And I don't say it proudly, but I say it that sadly we sometimes are not so stable in any ways. But Ecuador has become a very, very stable country in the last 20 years. And now the history is very different, no? And we are trying to see tourism as one of our main income source because oil is one of them, no? So Zuleta is mainly a home, as I said. It's also a working hacienda. So we have, apart from many of the haciendas that you see offered in tourism in Ecuador and in many other lands, it's mainly the house and a few hectares around. We have more than 4,500 acres. We produce 22 different products. We have our own cheese factory. We process about 1,000 kilos, so 2,400 pounds of cheese a day in 17 different varieties. So you will be able to see all of that. The key element here is that our operation has been designed that either you can come here with a guide or you can come here without a guide, no? Because after being in Galapagos, you've been trying. I'm gonna need some help now from my wife, who's also one of our key elements. No? So you have a map like this that was given to every guest, and every day we sit with your own host. So one host takes care of 1 or 2 or 3 reservations, and he explains. He transfers all his knowledge of Zuleta to the guests so you can explore your Zuleta. For me, the key element, as I was saying, is that you find your own Zuleta. We will give you all the options. No, one of them is incredible trails, incredible. No, so that's kind of the hacienda. No, and these are all the these are all the different trails that we have and different points. And so from here, from the house, you have many options, from bicycle, horses, 4x4s, walking. One of the most beautiful activities is walking, no? So you have a very clear map, no? We have the community very close, so about 5-6 minutes by car or 12-15 minutes by walking. We sometimes leave you up in the community and you come down. The community has embroidery classes. We give cooking classes also there, no? And then we have all this area in the lower part of the farm where we have most of our milk production. And we also have something very, very important. We not only have protected the area, and I know this is cliche, but my grandfather started protecting these ecosystems here towards the east, no, from 1960s. So we have a jewel, and we have an area that is managed by our foundation where we have Andean condors, South American spectacle bear. And I would say 95, 97% of our guests will see wild condors. We also have a captive condors. We have the only 2 breeding condors in Ecuador, captive breeding condors in Ecuador, no? And we also have spectacle bears. So you can see both species at the same time, if you are lucky enough. Obviously, like in Mashpi, things just move around, no, they're not there. But condors are very, very common. And you can go through this area in horse, bicycle, walking, or in a car. So we know we have older guests and younger guests. We cater to all of families and also older guests. It's one of our key elements, no? And then you see these yellow little things here. This is one of the most important archaeological sites of Ecuador. This is of the pre-Inca civilization. And we've been working, for example, with York University, with UCLA, and also very interesting activities there, no? And as you showed you, and I know I am doing this in a book, and I'm sorry, but because of the size of the house, we cannot move around without losing you guys. We're gonna show you one of the rooms, but here is where the house is, no? You have all these activities. This is Condor Canyon, where you have the condors flying and you are walking either down or up. So the key element here is enjoying your own Zuleta, no? And not necessarily to come with a guide. We have our own hosting system. They don't accompany you, but we can have, for example, for one day, you can go to the Otavalo market, which is very, very close, 30 minutes away. It's one of the largest Indian market near here. And we have Crater Lakes near here also. So just wanted to show you something about this. For us is very important. You mentioned that we work with 97% now of the people are from around the communities. We have 4 communities around the farm. And that's also one of our key elements, no? That we give jobs. First, when we started in 1997, only for horseback riders. And then there was only 62% of the people from the community. We had to bring people from outside. Today, even the national reservation manager is from Zuleta, which is Marta, which is her, no? So if you have a local operator here, they will be talking to Marta. And that's the key element, no? My grandfather prided himself of giving opportunities, not only as a mark of saying you do. We actually do a lot of things. Another thing that I want to show you, while Carolina shows you a little bit of around the area, and you can see that in this farm, it's a real experience, no? If you have one of the most important festivities in June of all the community, it's made in the main plaza of the Hacienda. The only 2 days we close this Hacienda for guests and family, which still use it, are for these main festivities, which is more important than Christmas. So why I say that it's a real experience? Because if you want an event that is in June, I am not going to do it in February. You understand? The key element here is that you see Ecuador as it is. Now I want to go to one of our rooms, no? So you can show a little bit, so you can see a little bit of what we are all about. We are not luxury. Our luxury more is the experience. The rooms you can choose 4 different types of pillows. The rooms, the guest employees come 4 times a day to your room when you are not here, obviously, to see that everything is okay in the morning, in the afternoon.
We cannot hear you as well. We could hear you very well, but now somehow we lost the sound.
Yeah,
we can see very well.
I'm going to wait 5 seconds. Is okay?
Yeah, it's better, but it's not as good as it was before.
Okay, this is one of the rooms. Can you hear me now?
A little. Can you speak closer to the microphone?
Can you hear me?
That's better.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to show you one of the rooms, no? This is called Manito Sayo in the name of my grandmother. This room, as I said, the employees come, they open the bed, they put a hot water bottle inside. You can see everything is either down comforters or anti-allergic. We will find out everything we can from you, from your agencies or operators about your guests, so he or she can feel fine here and completely. We will know their allergies and everything, no? Also, as I said, we have a hosting system, no? For horses, no? And you can see them, for example, Jose and David at the far end, they are showing the horse. At the end, you will have some cows. So you'll be able to milk cows, to see the production of milk into cheese, to feel the community, to buy products like the community. If you like our project of condors, you can help the project and you will get all the information from us. So basically, yes, we are a hotel because we are open to public, but we are more than a home. And I love when guests understand this and get a feeling of it, no? As you can see, the house is with family pictures like this one here. She's my mother, no? And for example, this beautiful cabinet. This was of a church that was destroyed in the last earthquake in 1822. We bought this hacienda in 1898. So we are here for a long time. And my family, what they want is to maintain this as a home. You know? You can see here, my grandfather was a very prominent politician and diplomat. Here he is with Harry Truman. You know? And so, for example, we have an area of the house where you can close this area if you're with a family group, and we can serve you lunch and dinner and breakfast in your own table. So things like that can be done at Zuleta because we are a very large house. We are in meters, 17,000 square meters. I think that feet is about 50 something square feet, 1,000 square feet. So, no, we're also, I said this is the horse stables, as you can see, but here we are building our own relaxation center. I don't want to say spa. It is going to be very small with a sauna, with a Turkish bath. It was stopped because of the pandemic, but we will finish it by March. It's about 60% already. So I love the concept that you are able. I know that the technology here is not so so ideal like in your home, but we have worked a lot so that you remain connected, but we hope that you don't try to be too connected, okay? Here is a place to rest, to enjoy, to learn history. Don't send your guests, your clients, my guests, only to Galapagos. My job is as an ambassador of the continental area. I even have a house in Galapagos, but I love the countryside, the Andes. It is what really identifies Ecuador, the Andean region. So I don't know what more to say. I would love to have questions and answers. I love questions more than presenting myself, but I'm here with a beautiful team behind me that we are ready for you to send us guests. And I know they will enjoy. Send us at least one night. It doesn't matter. They will ask for more. Okay.
That's it. I'm sure they will stay more. You're a great ambassador for Ecuador, and we love Ecuador. We love your house, the hacienda, and your hospitality. So thank you very much. And it's a wonderful place. A great ambassador, and great honor to Ecuador.
You're going to meet Monica, who will take care of you when you're here.
Hello, Monica. Hello, Monica. Thank you very much, Monica.
Okay.
All the best. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for Veloso. We are ready. Ecuador is ready. We are going to have the best December in the history of our farm, of our tourism part. So we are ready. We have 89%, 84% of our employees have come back. Some we lost, they are doing their own business, but we are here with a heart. So thank you very much
Thanks
for
a lot.
giving me the opportunity.
Thanks a lot. See you again.
Ciao.
All the
Thanks,
best.
Fernando. Really comes across how great a host you are. I'm very proud of the family home, and you know, so enthusiastic about giving people such a warm welcome, and the experience that is best for them with all the facilities.
Take care.
Thanks very much, Fernando. Great to see Hacienda Zuleta there, looking very good and ready for clients to visit. And that concludes our tour around Ecuador. We've seen many different places. I hope it comes across just how much variety and diversity there is in such a small country. Ecuador is a relatively small country. Just how much there is to see there, and different places to visit and reasons to visit, subject to your own particular interests and preferences. So now I'm going to hand back over to Paolo, who's going to talk a little bit about the itineraries and a couple of the other services of Veloso Tours.
Hello. Well, that was a wonderful trip in Ecuador. Everything's so different. The Galapagos, commercial city on the coast, then Cuenca in the mountains, Quito, the Mashpi Lodge in the cloud forest, and now the Hacienda Zuleta, the historic Hacienda Zuleta with such great hospitality. Of course, we also have the Amazon. So now we're going to look at some itineraries where you can join all these together. So for example, we start one with a simpler itinerary where you would fly to Quito. And normally you stay 2 nights, because that means 1 full day in case there's any delay with your flight from the UK. So it's a daytime flight, you arrive in the evening, you stay 2 nights, and then early in the morning of the following day, you go to Galapagos and you cruise the Galapagos. And on the way back, the flight back to the UK departs in the evening, so there's no need to stay another night if you want to come back straight away after the cruise, since the cruise is the highlight. So that's one option, we call it the Darwin tour. Another possibility here is to fly to Quito and then to travel to the Amazon, then back to Quito, and then take the trip along the Andes to Cuenca, as we've seen it, and then go through the Cajas National Park towards Guayaquil, stay in Guayaquil, and then come back or go on to the Galapagos. And this is another example where you can be based in Quito and do day trips from Quito, go to the Mashpi Lodge, to go to Cloud Forest, then the Galapagos and Guayaquil on the way back. So that's one other possibility. Another one here is probably the all-encompassing trip to Ecuador, where you would fly to Quito, then go to the Amazon, back to Quito, then travel along the Avenue of Volcanoes to Cuenca, stay in Cuenca 2 or 3 nights, and then over to Guayaquil and the Galapagos. So you have the 3 regions of Ecuador in one itinerary. Ecuador is also very interesting to combine in our landmark tours, the multi-country itineraries. So for example, in this case, you could travel to Lima, visit Lake Titicaca, Cusco, Machu Picchu, and then to Quito to go to the Galapagos. This is a wonderful combination of mountains and history and ancient civilizations and nature in the Galapagos. So this is a very important itinerary in the Landmark Tour series. And here I would like to just mention this possibility: when you find an itinerary that you like or that you are considering, to explore and to experiment with the duration, when you leave, when you come back, where you will be throughout the itinerary. On our website, you can choose a date, pick a date, and then click on download itinerary. Wait a little bit, and then the magic happens. You have an itinerary like this, which will have an introduction. It has the map, where you'll be staying, travel highlights, what's included, and then you have a day-by-day summary. This is a very useful tool to see where you will be, what you'd be doing each day, and when you'd arrive back. So I encourage you to use this, if download, to experiment and to consider different options. And then if you want to make any modifications, you can contact us, and we can prepare a tailor-made itinerary, a bespoke itinerary. These itineraries have a price from, because obviously the flights have not been booked for the dates that you have chosen, but it is an approximation. And then when you want a guaranteed price, we will have a date, we can check the flights, and then we can provide a complete itinerary with a guaranteed price. So this is our tour of Ecuador. And Berenice, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do actually. We've got one question, which is, what is the best time to go to Ecuador and the Galapagos? What is the best season?
Oh, okay, that's a very interesting question. Well, I would say that the Galapagos, you could go all year round, and that you have different highlights of the cycle of nature at each time. So, for example, in October, the sea lions are giving birth to their pups, and it's not a good time to swim with the sea lions because the bulls are quite aggressive patrolling on the beachfront, but you see a lot of females on the beach giving birth. Then the nesting season is from October. The birds and the wildlife is endemic, so they're close to the ground. You can have also the season when the albatrosses are mating. So essentially with the Galapagos, you need to look at the cycle of nature. I would say that's the main factor. Well,
Okay. No, that's
so
it.
I would like to thank everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And yes, if you have any question or anything, feel free to contact us. As you can see on this slide, www.veloso.com for any information on Ecuador and Galapagos. You can email us at travel@veloso.com or just phone us as well. We open from Monday to Saturday.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone in Ecuador for taking the time to come and show us all these wonderful places. And in the Galapagos, it worked reasonably well. I mentioned there would be some technical hitch, but everything worked. So thank you, everyone. Well done.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.